Alright, good evening folks, and welcome back. Today's video that I'm about to make, or that I'm making right now, is going to be about eBay. I got a huge problem with eBay lately. eBay has changed more drastically than I can remember or I'm used to. They have this new, what I would refer to as woke policy. They must not want to hurt somebody's feelings. So, I have 3 phones that I'm selling. One of them's already been sold. I've been paid for, shipped, and received by the buyer. Now this other phone that I have, it's this red iPhone. As you can see, it's pretty trashed, front and back. It's an older phone. I've had it for a few years. Belonged to my kid. One thing about iPhones, no matter what condition they are in, they sell, regardless. So, I sold this item 3 days ago. 3 days ago was when the auction ended. The buyer did not pay for the item as listed in the auction. Usually, the buyer must pay for the item at the end of the auction. That's what I put in all my auctions. So, first thing I try to do is leave a negative feedback. And here's what I found out about that. And I did some Google and research on it too, to confirm it. A seller cannot leave a negative or neutral feedback against a buyer. Okay? They claim because in the past, it's been abused by sellers, putting in their description, threatening to leave a negative feedback if, say, a buyer backed out with no real intentions on buying the item, and basically screwing everybody else over who actually wants to buy the item, or they didn't pay for the item. And such is the case like this. Okay, so nowadays, when you look at somebody's feedback rating, like I have a 100% feedback rating. I've been a member of eBay for the past 22 years. Okay, I've never once scammed anybody out of an item that I sold or bought. Now, in the past, I've had an item or two that I listed incorrectly, didn't catch it right off the bat. Notified by the buyer, hey, there's something wrong, this isn't this. Okay, no problem. Always communicated with the buyer. We came up with a reasonable agreement on whether taking the item back or reducing the price and giving him back some of his money. And that's what I've done in the past. Okay? So, what I ended up doing here is I couldn't leave a feedback. That was useless. So I ended up canceling the item. Or in this case, at the end, it was called canceling the order, which I did. So then they got this feature where you can report the buyer. Well, reporting the buyer doesn't work either, and I'm going to show you why. So right here is the individual that bought my item. When you click on report a buyer, these are the only options you get. A buyer demanded something that was not offered in my listing. Buyer made a false claim. Buyer misused returns. Or buyer messaged me or retracted their bid with no intention of buying the item. Well, the guy bought the item. He just never paid for it. So this is pretty useless. Okay? And because of that, there's really no true way to report this guy. They should have down here, buyer did not pay for auction in a timely manner, or in my case, at the end of the auction, which is usually how I list all my items. You got to pay for it at the end of the auction. As simple as that. Anytime I bought something on eBay, I've always paid for it right when I was notified by eBay that, hi, you won the item. So again, to me, it's eBay's a new woke agenda as far as I'm concerned. So now this item was listed for 10 days. So guess what? Now I'm going to relist it for another 10 days. So that's going to be 20 days total, and I still have this phone. All right? To be quite honest, I didn't expect it to sell for as much as it did. It sold for, I think it was like $118.50. Great. After their fees and all that stuff, I'm probably going to take home around about $80. All right, no big deal. It is what it is. It's an old phone, you know. But, let me tell you why it's important for you to be able to leave a negative feedback. Because if a buyer does some shenanigans like this character did, eBay is going to do one or two things. Either going to restrict their ability to bid, or actually restrict their ability to buy or sell, or boot them entirely. Okay? I've had it happen once before. Many years ago, I think it was like 2002, I was doing some buying on eBay. I was back in the day when I was building computers. And this one gentleman was selling a box of computer items. I knew one of them was a keyboard. I could see the picture wasn't all that great quality, but back then you're talking about 22 years ago. So I went ahead and I won the auction for $10. I was excited. But my dumbass didn't realize that the shipping price was $60. So I was having to pay $60 to ship a big box of parts that I won for $10. So I did the right thing. I paid $70. There was no taxes back then. So I paid $70. Items showed up to my house. I went through the entire box. None of it was any good. Either broken, missing pieces to it, what have you. I threw it all in the trash. Back then you were able to contact eBay by phone. And I did. I told them what was going on. I got all my money back. I got my full $70 back. And that particular seller, well, he got booted from eBay. Why? Because not long after I had bought my stuff, he got complaints from other buyers and sellers about either broken, misleading descriptions on the item, not paying for an item, or what have you. And they booted him. Rightfully so. Okay? Well, nowadays, somebody doesn't pay for an item, well, guess what? You're basically screwed. But if you're a seller and you make a damn mistake, I can guarantee you they're going to smack you for it. As far as a buyer, you can do whatever you want nowadays. And there won't be any repercussions. Now, this phone's going to get relisted with the corrected information on it. Okay? So maybe it was a good thing that he didn't pay for it. But then again, who really knows, right? Because I can tell you this, with that phone being destroyed like that, all they were going to do was take the good internals and putting it into a new case. And most of the people do that are people that already own cell phone repair shops and and stuff like that. But one thing I will tell you, I don't know what it is, but iPhones sell, and they sell quickly, generally. All right? Anytime I put an iPhone up for auction in the past, within an hour, I'm already getting somebody messaging me that they want the phone and they're offering me X amount of dollars. I ignore those messages for a reason. A lot of the times they're scammers. I had an iPhone once that sold. I think it was the iPhone 6 back in the day when they first came out, those big ones. And it was the largest phone that they sold. Within a few minutes, I had somebody offer me over $600 for the phone. No, not happening, because I knew it was a fake. Another thing, when you're listing something like, say, an iPhone, do not, whether it's an iPhone, an Android, whatever, do not give them the IMEI number if they message you for it, because it happens all the time, and I'm going to tell you why. What scammers will do, they'll take that number, they'll program it into a phone that's already considered bad, that's been blacklisted, they'll go ahead, they'll get the phone activated. Then they're gonna call Apple or whoever and tell them that you know, there's a phone being sold on on eBay, which is IMEI number. That belongs to me. It belongs to my phone, so I'm reporting it stolen. And what they end up doing is they end up blacklisting the phone, and the person with the real phone that the IMEI number belongs to, well, guess what? He's shit out of luck. He can't sell his phone. Okay, that's a known fact. I even Googled it, and that's how I got the information on it. So never, ever, ever give them your IMEI number, no matter what they say. If you know for a fact the IMEI number is clean, all right, you simply put it in your listing. I put in, do not message me for IMEI number. That will go to the winning buyer only. IMEI number is free and clear. That's all you got to put. So there you go. So I think after I sell these next two phones, it may be a while before I sell anything else on eBay. I might just turn to Marketplace, or when it comes to a cell phone, I'm just going to turn around and sell it on Swappa. I've had good luck in the past. Swappa is completely no BS allowed. You cannot sell a phone on Swappa if you got a bad IMEI number, it's been blocked, blacklisted, or whatever. But there you go. I think eBay needs to change its new, what I refer to as woke policy, because that ain't working. Good night.